Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is looking to be one of the most visually appealing and impressive, not just Dragon Ball games of all time, but anime games, period. And if you guys can hear the excitement in my voice right now, you already know it's about to be a good one. What is going on, fellas? Welcome back to another Dragon Ball Sparking Zero video. It is your boy Tech, and as you can tell by the title, thumbnail, and screen, it is tier list day, buddy. Today, we're going to be ranking all of the Sparking Mode ultimates that we've seen in the demo version of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero thus far, from S rank, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, I don't think there's a single super attack below B rank right now. Before we do go ahead and hop into the rankings, I do want to say that this is not my template that I put together myself. I'm using somebody else's template entirely on the tier maker website, so there may or may not be a couple of ults here and there that are missing. I think most of these are at least ones that were playable in the demo itself, outside of like Raditz right here that I do see. But anyways, let's just get straight to it because I know you guys are anticipating to see where I'm gonna place all these ultimate attacks. So without further ado, let's hop right into the very first one here up at the top, which is going to be Yamcha's Spirit Ball. And do I even have to say it? This is going to get dropped straight into S tier, man. If you guys have been keeping up with a lot of the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero content that we've been doing on the channel, I gas this super attack or ult. I'm probably going to be calling these super attacks a lot, but I gas this ultimate attack every time we see it. The first time we saw the Spirit Ball ultimate in Sparking Zero, bro, this looks like an entire combo in itself. Like, this isn't just an ultimate attack that you just fire off and it does a lot of damage. It is one of the coolest looking attacks in the game so far, and I think everybody could probably agree with that. I mean, they gave Yamcha some sauce in Sparking Zero, just like they did in Fighters, man. They've been doing Yamcha real good recently. I do appreciate that. He is one of the cooler characters when they want him to be, so that's fire. Next is gonna be Hercule's ultimate attack with Boo fighting. Now, this one, I can't really disrespect the champ too much, but there isn't really a whole lot going on with this ultimate attack. I mean, Hercule calls up Boo, and they do like a little dual combo attack, I guess. It's all right, but it's not really the most exciting ultimate attack in the game. So I think it's pretty fair to maybe put this like mid tier, I guess. It's not horrible, but I definitely wouldn't put it up here at the top with like Spirit Ball and some of these other ones. Now, next... okay, so next is going to be Super Saiyan God Vegeta's Prominence Flash, and this might upset some people. I think for the majority of these beam slash orb super attacks, I'll probably go ahead and place a lot of those in A or B tier, unless they have a lot more of a, I guess, cinematic element to them, something like Spirit Bomb or something like that. I don't really think a lot of these will go in S tier for me, but I'll definitely go ahead and put it in front of Mr. Satan and Boo fighting. Now, next is going to be Super Saiyan 3 Goku's Dragon Fist, and I think this was a really obvious one. This has got to go straight into S tier, if not for anything else, for the windscreen that you get at the end of the game. Does anything else even need to be said? You guys let me know. I think that's I might actually have to put this in front of Spirit Ball, even though Spirit Ball is probably one of my... Spirit Ball being up here and being this high, this is my bias coming out because it is one of the coolest looking ults in the game to me so far, so it's got to go up here. But I don't think I'm comfortable putting it in front of Dragon Fist because outside of the attack itself, the windscreen for Dragon Fist Goku is just... it's unreal, man. It's unreal. So next is gonna be base Goku's. This is the handheld Spirit Bomb. You know what, now that I'm looking at all of these, I don't see the regular Super Spirit Bomb. I see we have Super Spirit Bomb times 20 Kaioken here, but we don't have base Goku's regular Super Spirit Bomb that he used on Namek. So I think I will put the handheld version in A tier. I'm kind of teetering between A and S tier, but I don't want to gas it too much. It is it's probably my favorite version of the Spirit Bomb, if I'm being honest. But I think A tier is pretty fair for this ultimate attack, especially since we don't have Super Spirit Bomb here. That would have had to go in S tier if you ask me. Maybe like towards the end of S tier, but I mean, you guys let me know how you feel about that. This is my bias coming out. These are my rankings. I'll make sure to link the tier list down below in the comment section so you guys can do this for yourself. But this is just, where I'm coming from. All right, so next is Super Saiyan Goku from Battle of Gods Kamehameha Wave. And like I said before, a lot of these beam attacks I'll probably go ahead and put in B/A tier. I don't really, of course, I'll put this in front of Mr. Satan and Boo fighting. Prominence Flash, this is my Vegeta bias coming out once again, so I'll probably go ahead and put Super Saiyan Goku behind Vegeta right here. All right, so next is Birder and Jace, Purple Comet. Another one of my personal favorites. I'll probably go ahead and throw this... should I throw this at the top of B? or should I throw it somewhere in A? I think Birder and Jay's Purple Comet can go in A. I'll probably, you know, be hesitant as to what I put behind this for right now. It might eventually move down to B, but I think for right now I will go ahead and put Purple Comet in A tier. All right, so next, this one is actually really difficult for me to place. There's like 2 or 3 different spots I do think this could go, depending on, you know, how I feel that day. But next is gonna be Super Spirit Bomb times 20 Kaioken from Dragon Ball Super Goku. I do think that this belongs in S tier. Once again, I feel like if regular Super Spirit Bomb was down here, that would automatically be S tier for me. I'm kind of teetering between the top of A tier and somewhere in S tier for me. I think this has to go behind Spirit Ball, for me at least. For me, it has to go behind Spirit Ball if I do put it in S tier. But if I put it in A tier, it has to go somewhere near the top, like automatically. I don't think that's a debate at all. So for right now, just to be a little bit more strict with what I'm putting in S tier, I think I will go ahead and put this at the top of A. A lot of you guys will probably think I'm crazy for that. But once again, once everything is placed and we see how the entire list looks at the end, I'll probably go ahead and try to order these a little bit better. But for now, I'm going to place Super Spirit Bomb times 20 Kaioken at the top of A tier with an asterisk. That could definitely move up to S tier. Let me just see how everything else looks first. All right, so next is Super Saiyan Gogeta Stardust Fall. And just to show you guys that I'm serious about being strict with the S tier, I'm going to go ahead and put this in A as well because, trust me, I'm being super strict from now on what I'm putting in S tier. I mean, the Yamcha, that's a personal bias of mine, but I feel like Dragon Fist, that's an obvious one that has to go up there. I'm still kind of iffy about Super Spirit Bomb times 20 Kaioken. We'll probably come back to that at some point. But right now, I actually think I might put Stardust Fall behind that. Next, this is another easy S tier for me. Angry Kamehameha Super Saiyan Goku. This yeah, I think I'm gonna have to put this in front of Spirit Ball. Also, remember, Spirit Ball, that's just a personal bias of mine being up here in S tier. I feel like it definitely deserves to be up here because it's just straight saucy in this game. But Angry Kamehameha and Dragon Fist, those are obvious S tiers to me. So next is going to be the Final Flash from dbsz Vegeta. I think, you know, I did say that I was going to probably put a lot of these beams in A/B tier. That's probably still going to ring true for this one. I just am not sure where I want to place this in A tier. I think I do want to put this, do I put this in front of Goku's handheld Spirit Bomb or behind? I think I might put this behind. Some of these in A tier are kind of tricky to me. So next is going to be Full Power Super Saiyan Broly's Gigantic Catastrophe. Oh, man. Just off of, bro, the colors and the contrast in this super attack and just all of the smoke and the explosion that it makes, I feel like this is a candidate for S tier. But I also feel like if I can't put times 20 Kaioken Spirit Bomb up there, maybe this should go right behind this just because of the cinematic element of this super attack. I love seeing this. Like, it looks gorgeous to me. Every time we see it in a video, I say it every time that this is one of the best looking super attacks to me. But these 3 up here just hit all the way different, man. Possibly this one too. But right now, I'm comfortable putting this right behind Kaioken Spirit Bomb. All right, so next is going to be Base Gogeta's Big Bang Kamehameha. Ooh, this one is tricky for me. I feel like I'm going to trigger some people if I put this in B. So maybe I will put this at the end of A. I feel like that, well, it has to go ahead of Purple Comet, I feel like. This is fair. Possibly this at some point. Maybe if we change our mind later on. Nah, I'm not ready to do that just yet. Dirty Fireworks. Oh, man. Does my Vegeta bias come out right here? Do I put this in? This is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. Dirty Fireworks. See, but I'm looking at where I place some of these other super attacks, and I don't feel comfortable putting Dirty Fireworks ahead of a few of these in A. But I also don't feel comfortable putting Dirty Fireworks like in low A tier either. I feel like this might be a good place for that. I feel like that might be a good spot. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't really do tier lists like that, so trying to go through this as quickly as possible gets really hard when you actually start thinking about this stuff. All right, so next is going to be Android 17's Barrier Explosion. Ooh, Ooh boy. I feel like I'm gonna annoy some people with this one, but I am gonna put this at the top of B. It isn't the craziest ultimate attack ever, but it does look absolutely gorgeous. But I do love when Dragon Ball incorporates other colors for their energy attacks other than like blue or yellow or something like that. So that's automatically going to make it look a little bit better, like we were talking about with Broly's super attack earlier. The green and all the contrast from that against everything else, and just how everything pops with all of that green smoke and things like that, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. But as far as nah, I can't do that to 17. It has to go in A. I'm tripping. I can't do that to 17. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm playing it back in my head a few more times. Yeah, it looks too good to be in B. I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, I guess the same could be said about a couple of these beams down here. But we're trying to keep this as strict as possible. So next is going to be Raditz Saturday Crush. Now, we haven't gotten to use this ultimate attack ourselves, or super attack, whatever you want to call it. But I think I'm going to stick to what I was saying earlier. A lot of these beam-like attacks outside of like Final Flash and Angry Kamehameha can probably go down here in B tier. Now, do I... Yeah, I think we can go ahead and put this right in front of Hercule, even though we've only seen it like once or twice. Maybe I'll change my mind about Raditz super attacks once the game comes out and we see a little bit more. But for right now, I think this can comfortably go somewhere in the B tier. Next is going to be Grade 8 Vegeta Super Gallic Gun. While I do love my Grade 8s, I do love Vegeta, a lot of these beams can just chill down here in the B tier. We can probably go ahead. You know what? Just for the voice acting with this attack, I'm going to put it right behind Prominence Flash in B tier. I think that's a good, comfortable spot for it. I know some of you guys might disagree, but I think that's good for right now. Maybe we'll come back and change our mind later. All right, so next is going to be Super Saiyan Vegeta's Big Bang attack. Ooh, this one pains me because I absolutely love this attack, especially on this version of Vegeta. But I also think that, you know what, I'm comfortable actually putting this at the top of B tier. In my opinion, I think this can comfortably gatekeep A tier until we get to something that may change my mind, which actually is coming up right here. This is going to be Beerus' Sphere of Destruction. Now, I actually have things I like about this super attack and things that I don't like about it. In my honest opinion, and this is just kind of a personal thing, this doesn't, you know, take anything away from the ultimate attack itself. They went kind of ham on the particles. I know this is Spike Chunsoft, and I know that's kind of like a Beerus thing with the power of destruction, but all of the particles from this super attack, man, it makes it hard to see stuff on the screen in the game. I can probably put this right in front of Super Vegeta's Big Bang attack. I think that's a fair place. The particles are what's making me want to put this behind Vegeta, but I feel like that's kind of foolish, and a lot of people would probably disagree, even though this is my list. I think for right now, I can put that at the top of B tier. As you guys can see, the longer this goes on, I'm not really putting anything in C or D tier. I don't think there's any bad looking ultimate attacks in this game, and when the game comes out, I don't think that's gonna change at all. I mean, even me having Hercule at the end right here, it's not a bad looking super attack, and it's a really fun one as well. So hopefully that's a reoccurring theme with the rest of this list, and it stays that way after the game comes out. So next is going to be Super Saiyan 2 Teen, or this is actually Adult Gohan, Super Kamehameha. At first, I thought this was actually Teen Gohan. I was like, wait, we haven't even seen that yet. But this is Adult Gohan. They just refer to him as Teen because he was in high school at that point. And the other Gohan, the one that we call Teen Gohan, that's really Youth Gohan, I guess, is what they're going to call him when the game comes out. So this one, another beam that I'm comfortable putting somewhere down here in B tier. Where do I want to place it exactly? Probably right behind... right in front of or right behind Grade 8 Vegeta here. Maybe behind for right now because I do have a slight Vegeta bias, as you can see. You know, I'm kind of hesitant about putting Beerus in front of Super Vegeta because I just love Super Vegeta that much. And on top of that, there's like 5 different versions of Big Bang attack in this game, so that could change at any moment. Maybe there's even another one down here that I haven't gotten to yet, but for right now, that's probably a good spot for Super Kamehameha. All right, so next is going to be like the very first super attack we ever saw in this game's trailer. Is going to be Super Saiyan Blue Goku's Kamehameha. And I'll be real with you guys, this attack was fire the first couple of times we saw it. But as more stuff gets revealed and more stuff gets released and we see more and more trailers coming out, more and more gameplay, it's kind of bland at this point compared to everything else that we've seen. So I think I am actually pretty comfortable. Some of you guys may disagree with this. I'm actually going to put this right behind Saturday Crush from Raditz. And to be honest, This wasn't Goku, and I felt like it wasn't Mando to put some respect on his name, especially being one of the first super attacks we ever saw from Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. He might have to go behind Hercule, I'm gonna be honest. All right, next is gonna be another Goku super attack. This is gonna be Super Saiyan 2 Goku Super Kamehameha. Another beam that I'm really comfortable putting down here in B tier somewhere. I do actually like this one a lot though, so I'm not too sure where I want to place this in B tier. I would probably put this somewhere around Gohan right here. And now that I'm thinking about it, he might actually have to go in front of Grade 8 Vegeta, because I actually do like this version of Goku a lot. Super Saiyan 2 Goku doesn't get a lot of shine in the series because he rarely uses that transformation. So I do want to put some respect on his name and on this transformation for him. I'm going to put him in front of Grade 8 Vegeta. For right now, like I said, the longer this goes on, I'll begin to look at some other things and maybe want to switch some things around. But for right now, that's a good spot for him. Okay, so next is Bergamo's Danger Triangle attack. And if I'm not mistaken, fellas, I don't think they really did too much with Basil and Lavender in this attack. I feel like they could have did a lot more. They didn't get any, like, one-liners or anything throughout the whole, like, cinematic animation of the attack. I do like the whole Power Ranger aspect of it, but I feel like they honestly just kind of half-assed this ultimate attack, if I'm being real. Like, for a lack of better words, I feel like they could have did a lot more with this, a lot more with Basil and Lavender. So for that, I'm probably gonna actually put this right. Do I put this behind Super Saiyan Blue Goku? I'll put it in, I think I am gonna put it behind Super Saiyan Blue Goku, just because that's how much I feel like they could have done better with this ultimate attack. I feel like they just kind of did it lazily, if that makes sense. All right, so next, we finally got another S tier, boys. This is going to be Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's final explosion. Of course, we've seen this a couple of times. I actually did get some footage of this myself at Anime Expo. This is one of the best looking super attacks in the game so far. Automatic S tier. I don't think many of us are going to disagree with that. If you do, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But right now, this is a strong 4 in the S tier, if you ask me. All right, so next is going to be Krillin's Chain Destructo Disc. I've only seen this a handful of times, so I don't know if I'm really doing this justice where I'm about to put it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put Krillin right behind Goku's handheld Spirit Bomb right here. Another super attack going in A tier. I feel like that's pretty fair for right now. I probably won't go back and change that. I might put something in front of it as we move on, but for right now, I feel like that being mid A tier is a pretty good spot for it. Okay, so next is another ultimate attack that I have my own reservations about. It's going to be Final Form Frieza, or Fourth Form Frieza as they're calling it now, Death Ball. And if this is how Death Ball is going to look in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, I mean, I guess this looks more like Supernova or Spear of Destruction, but in a lot of other Dragon Ball games, Frieza's Death Ball was that, you know, it was a lot smaller than this, and it was black with like purple or pink lightning or whatever around it, kind of like how he did in the anime. This looks, like I said, more like a Supernova or a Sphere of Destruction, but if this is what they're going with for Death Ball in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, just because it's not the other colorway that I like, I'm gonna have to put it in A tier somewhere. And this might sound really hypocritical when you look at all the Kamehamehas that I put in B tier, but because of how iconic Frieza's Death Ball is in particular, I really can't bring myself to put it in B tier. Like I said, really hypocritical with what you see is down here in B tier. So for that reason, I'll probably go ahead and put it, you know what, I'll put him right up here where he belongs, right beside Goku's Spirit Bomb. Let's see. I'll probably put him behind the handheld Spirit Bomb, right there in front of Krillin. The Namek Saga Trio right here in A tier where they belong, right? All right, so next is going to be Adult Gohan's regular Kamehameha attack, another one that I'm completely comfortable putting down here in B tier. But base Adult Gohan's Kamehameha, this isn't even Super Kamehameha, so I would probably put this behind Battle of Gods Kamehameha by Super Saiyan Goku here, right in front of Raditz Saturday Crush. All right, so next is going to be Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta's Kamehameha. I would put this in B tier, but like I said, I do have a slight Gogeta bias. So for that fact, I'll probably go ahead and put it right up here with his Big Bang Kamehameha, right in front of Android 17's Barrier Explosion, who the more I fill this tier list out, I'm kind of looking at, I kind of want to move it up a little bit. But what am I comfortable putting that in front of is going to be the question as we move forward here. Now we have Majin Vegeta's Final Explosion. Boys, do I even have to say it? Do I even have to say it? It's actually got to go in front of the other Final Explosion just because it's so iconic. Matter of fact, This is the only way that we can do that. Now that S tier looks saucy. That S tier looking nice up there. Matter of fact, I will go ahead and do this. Like I said, Spirit Ball from Yamcha is a personal bias of mine from this game because it's like a whole combo ultimate attack. It just looks so good, but I don't think I can bring myself to have it in front of either one of the final explosions. All right, so next is going to be Future Trunks' Final Hope / ultimate attack. Now, this one's a little bit difficult for me as well. I'm teetering between A and S tier. If I were to put this in S tier, I think I still like Spirit Ball a little bit better. But I also don't know if I could put this... See, if I were to put this in A tier, it has to go behind Super Spirit Bomb ×20 Kaioken. But I don't know if I can have it that low below Spirit Ball. That's the thing. So I think this is going to be the point in the video where we finally do that callback to all the stuff I was talking about earlier. This is probably the point in the video where I will go ahead and move Super Spirit Bomb Kaioken ×20 up here. And I'll have Final Hope / Gatekeeping S tier from here on out. Alright, so next is going to be God Goku's God Kamehameha. This is actually one of the beam attacks that I will probably go ahead and put in A tier. So congratulations to God Goku. You are probably going to go right behind Purple Comet right here. Like I said, there's not really too many beam attacks that are blowing me away in this game. So... to be honest, I'll put him at the end of A tier. All right, so now we got another Broly attack. Gigantic Ball from Super Saiyan Broly. I don't think I'm if this is the, okay, so we're going to go with the updated version of this super attack. And if we go with that version, I got to put this up here in A tier somewhere. Now, where does this go? I think this definitely goes ahead of Dirty Fireworks. I'll put it right behind the full power Super Saiyan Broly super attack. And while we're talking about Broly, let's just go ahead and place this last Broly ultimate attack. This is going to be base form Broly's Gigantic Impact. I think I'm pretty comfortable putting this either at the end of A or somewhere down here in B tier. If I were to put this in B tier though, no, I'll put it at the end of A. I think that's a pretty good spot for it. All right, so next is going to be Android 18. I think this was called, there's no name for it on the image, but I think this was like Infinity Blaster or something like that. I'll have to look into that later. Just because it's Android 18, I kind of want to put it at the end of A tier because I really love Android 18. But if we're actually talking about the attack itself, I'm not really too impressed with it. I'm not going to lie. Like, Z18 had her moments, but she didn't really have the most flashy moveset or anything like that. I mean, she has like Destructo Disc and stuff like that later on, but other than that, there wasn't really a lot that she did when it came to the energy attack. So for that reason, I will probably put this probably a lot lower than some of you guys want me to, but this is going to go down here somewhere in B. I'll probably put this, in front of Saturday Crush. Maybe a little low for some of you guys, but I think that's pretty fair. I mean, 18's movesets aren't really ever the most flashy. All right, so next is going to be Kid Gohan's Ki Barrage. Are you kidding me, man? I love Gohan, but this is consecutive Ki Blast volley. So for that reason, we got to put it in S tier. No, I'm just kidding. You know, at a certain point in my life, I was an avid consecutive Ki Blast volley enjoyer, you know, full power energy wave and all that stuff. But at a certain point, we got to start calling it how it is. So I got to put Gohan at the end right here. I'm sorry, my son. It just is what it is. Next is Majin Buu's Angry Explosion. Ooh, looking at everything that we have placed right here, I have absolutely no clue where to put this. I want to put it in A tier, but I also want to put it in B. I feel like there's a couple of places in A tier where this could go, but I also don't want to put it in front of a couple of things in B. So that makes me feel like I need to redo a lot of this order going on right here. But do I really need to do that for a Majin Buu ultimate attack? I don't think so. So for that reason, I will probably go ahead and put it right here behind Final Gallic Burst. I think that's a pretty fair spot for it. God Kamehameha, I might actually move down here, put it right beside Prominence Flash. I think that's probably the one that I misplaced the most on this whole list. I kept looking at that. I didn't really say anything because I don't even know why I put that in A tier, to be honest with you guys. All right, so now we're down to our last two ultimate attacks, which are going to be Dr. Gero and Golden Frieza. First is going to be Dr. Gero's Drain Life attack. I actually do like this attack a lot. Now, when it comes to what we've seen from the androids so far in this game, I think just about anything they do is pretty cool, even with the super low Android 18 placement right here. But with that being said, I don't really have anything super positive to say about this ultimate attack or super negative to say about it. So I think that's like the perfect criteria to put it in mid B if I had to guess, right? And matter of fact, I'm probably cool putting this right beside Android 18. And like I was saying before, guys, I'm not putting anything in C or D because I don't think there's a bad ultimate attack that we've seen thus far. So this is kind of just what we're working with. I think at worst, maybe something is mid or it was just kind of a lazy ultimate attack that they put together. But other than that, I really like everything that I've seen in the game. Okay, fellas, so last but not least for our list here today is going to be Golden Frieza's Earthbreaker ultimate attack. And I think it's pretty clear that this isn't going in B tier, but I also think it's just as clear that this can't go in S either with the heavy hitters that we got up there. So figuring out where to place this in A tier is going to be our challenge for today. But I think I already have that kind of figured out. I think I'm pretty cool putting this right beside Gogeta. Right in between 17 and Gogeta right here is where I would put Golden Frieza's Earthbreaker attack. Okay, fellas, so before we finalize our list here and end the video, let's just go over everything one more time to make sure we're satisfied with the order of everything. As far as S tier goes right here, Dragon Fist being number 1, Angry Kamehameha being number 2, and Final Explosion being 3 and 4. I think this order is pretty fair. Like I was saying before, the windscreen for Dragon Fist is just so fire, man. I don't think I can bring myself. I mean, the windscreen for Angry Kamehameha is hard too, but I don't know, man. Personally, my bias is going towards Dragon Fist. Let me know down below in the comments what order you would have switched around this S tier. But I think this is probably what everybody would agree on right here for S tier, as far as I would say at least. A tier, Future Trunks, Final Hope / Gatekeeping S tier. I'm satisfied with this. I think everything here pretty much makes sense, except some people might argue Dirty Fireworks being this high. This is another personal bias of mine, just like Spirit Ball up here. But I think that even if it is a little high, it's not too much higher than it needs to be, if you ask me. Everything else looks pretty all right. The 3 Namek Saga boyos right here. Final Flash, maybe a little bit lower than some of you guys would like as well, but I mean, looking at everything in front of it, it's kind of hard to argue that for me. And then we have the bottom of A tier. This looks pretty right to me. Now, last is going to be B tier, or Beam tier, as we kind of made it this video. This is also kind of my hypocritical tier as well, because I put a couple of super attacks up here in A tier because of how iconic they were, but then we have like all our Kamehamehas and everything down here, so it's a little bit hypocritical. But at the same time, unless they really did something different with like the cinematics or the camera angles and pans and things like that, or maybe even like the voice acting for some of these beam attacks, the focus itself was the beam attack, and there's not really a lot of differentiation they can do with just the energy beam itself, if that makes sense to you guys. But I think that is gonna wrap it up for today's video, fellas. These tier lists are actually a lot harder and take a lot longer than I thought, but it was a lot of fun, you know, kind of going through this and explaining my thought process along the way. Like I said, a lot of you guys may disagree, a lot of you guys may agree with my placements for this. I am really not one to bust out the tier list maker like that, but this was definitely a lot of fun. So the next time we do something like this, maybe we should do it on stream. That would be a really sick way to interact with you guys. We could talk all this out amongst ourselves and probably come to a lot more common agreements than I even think right now. But anyway, fellas, that is going to do it for our tier list of all of the Sparking Mode Ultimates and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero's demos so far. Have a great day, fellas. And if you want to do this tier list yourself, I'll be sure to link it down below in the comments. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.